Good Thursday evening, folks. Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandajis here alongside Meteorologist Evan Stewart. We're joining you again just after our newscast wrapped up for a severe thunderstorm warning that popped up in the peninsulas. We've got an area over the Gloucester area that's got an active severe thunderstorm warning at this time. And it was issued mainly because of the risk of some large hail, and it is moving rather quick. It's pretty much about to hit the coastline here and move east. It's moving at 35 miles per hour, but here's the data on it from the Weather Service. This is up until 7 o'clock tonight. It is only up for Gloucester County, and it was radar indications of maybe some hail approaching half-inch or an inch diameter, which would be quarter size, and there could be some embedded wind gusts here, maybe up to 50, maybe 60 miles per hour. But it is moving at a pretty good clip and should be clearing the coastline and getting out of Gloucester County here in the short while. But in terms of any hail chances, here's our hail filter, and if we just go back 10 minutes or so, it did have a very small signature as it crossed the York River near Claybank here. You can see this was about 1/10 of an inch radar indication, so P-size. We are pretty far out from the radar site, though, so it could be a little bit larger than that, but that has been the main hazard as it moved over White Marsh and over 17 north of Wicomico and moving off to the east at a pretty good clip, about to hit the open Chesapeake here in just a short while. But the latest reading on that shows no hail whatsoever, at least radar indicated, out in this area. However, there's still plenty of heavy rainfall. It is now about to push into the far eastern part of the warning polygon here. There's the new update on it for you, just to the east now of White Marsh. Very heavy rain. Lightning strikes here only indicated of one strike. So it's a relatively weak cell. It's weakening, at least, as it's building off towards the east at a pretty good clip. And Evan, I mean, that's the only cell we're watching right now. We do have that level 1 threat from the Storm Prediction Center here that you can see does encompass that area, and it does dip down pretty much along I-64 and points north of there, and does even clip far northeastern portions of Virginia Beach, all of the eastern shore. And this has been pretty much the predominant area that's had any sort of activity over the last couple of hours. That lone severe thunderstorm warning, pretty good cell here off to the north over the open waters of the Chesapeake Bay, will be impacting Accomack County here as it's moving due east right over Tangier Island right now. But again, Accomack County under the gun probably within the next 30 minutes. This whole cluster moving to the east at around 30 to 40 miles per hour. So covering a good amount of real estate in a short amount of time here. This is all along an associated cold front that we see the line extending down a little bit farther to the south and southwest. We've got one lone cell here that's just over the James River now, exited Surrey County, and is about to move towards First Colony Colonial Parkway over near Williamsburg, down to Yorktown as well here over the short while, bringing some heavy rain. There's a clap of thunder and lightning indicated by radar there. That is non-severe at this time. I think the next cell that maybe we should be watching is going to be this one here off to the north. That also is a very weak signature for any potential hail here north of Plainview. And this is just as we're getting into Matthews County, over into James City County, not James City, Gloucester County, off to the north. There's Saluda. Here's the center of our cell that could potentially have a little bit of some hail with it. It's looking like it's on an intensification trip here as it's moving towards Dutton, and will cruise over northern Gloucester and northern portions of Matthews County here in the short term. This cell that's warned is just about to exit the actual warning polygon here and move safely out into the open water. Still some gusty winds, marine influences there, but eventually if it holds together, it'll be impacting the eastern shore within the next 30 minutes or so. Here's radar sweeping on through. Nothing new on that, and still no update, no reemergence, at least, of any hail signature with this as it moved over White Marsh. Had a very weak hail signature now that has disappeared from radar data at this time. So we're watching that, Evan, and that's pretty much the only cell out there right now that's got a little bit of concern to it. Maybe to the north, that one moving into northern Gloucester, but for now, this is the only active warning that we have across parts of Hampton Roads.
Yeah, Tim, that's the other storm that we're watching, is that one that is up there by Saluda, as you were mentioning, has a little bit of a hail core with it. The one that's over Gloucester County that's moving over into Mobjack Bay, that's the one that I think, continues to show some signs of weakening. That might affect southern areas there of Matthews County coming up. But again, right now over the last 10, 15 minutes, we've certainly seen that storm start to weaken a bit as it's moving into areas of Mobjack Bay. Southern Matthews County over towards Motor Run, you might get hit by some of that heaviest of the rain. There's the updated radar sweep coming around over around Guinea Circle. So this is up around Guinea. over towards Antioch Road in Matthews County, Mobjack, Motor Run, Perry. You're going to miss that. It's just going to cross over just to your south. That other storm that we're watching up there around Pampa, that one's just moving into northern Gloucester County. We're starting to see a little bit more of the pink showing up in that storm. Again, the hail signature tends to run a little bit behind because it all has to be processed by the radar as that storm continues to move and the radar does all of its sweeps at the different elevations. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see something issued with that storm coming up as it moves off towards the east. So that would include Middlesex County, south of Saluda, might include all the way over towards Ruark and points eastward towards Stingray Point there in in Middlesex County, probably a little bit there of northern Gloucester County, Sime Pine, Panero, Dutton. I'm just going to track that here over the last 15 minutes just to kind of show you that movement and how it has been showing some signs of intensification. We're seeing more of that pink showing up. Let's go back even the last 30 minutes and just sort of back it up a little bit. Started out as a little storm there around West Point, started to grow just towards the east of West Point as it moved over into northern Gloucester County. And there you can see some of that pink showing up right around Highway 17 there, working your way up from Plainview over towards Saluda, Pampa, Bat, Turks Ferry Road, Stormont Road. The one warning that we have, that one, that storm is significantly weakened from just where it was, over there as it moved over towards White Marsh and points eastward. Haven't seen any reports of any kind of hail with that storm. Wouldn't be surprised if there was a little bit of pea-sized hail with it, but now that it's moving into Mobjack Bay, certainly showing some signs of weakening. Another storm up in the Chesapeake Bay up around Tangier Island, and not severe, but we do have that one storm that is into Newport News and around downtown Hampton. So I want to take a look and see how that looks with our Hampton camera coming in there across the peninsula now. And it's not looking too bad there in Hampton. And as we take a look at our camera there at Oyster Point and Newport News, go a little bit farther to the north and seem to be, there we go. Actually can see a little bit of a rainbow there off in the distance, Tim.
Yeah, we're about to do it here on air. There we go. Hey folks, Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandajis here with you. I know we just saw you on our newscast, and as we wrap things up, there was a severe thunderstorm warning that was issued for Gloucester County. And I want to get a close-up look and show you what this is looking like here, because the warning itself is up for another 14 minutes. But you can see the cell that's warned has now almost completely exited that severe thunderstorm polygon there, just north of Gloucester Point. Some hail, some gusty winds associated with that. But I also wanted to join you to kind of show you that we're watching another cell here that's in northern Gloucester County. And this one does have the potential here of having a little bit of hail associated with it, just north of Plainview. This is far northern Gloucester. And if it holds together, it may clip even portions of Matthews County here. So that's going to be the main thing we'll look out for. In the short term will be some gusty winds, some small hail in this cell. Not warned yet, but we think it's going to probably be warned here with that hail signature getting a little more pronounced as it intensifies, pushing due east at around 35 miles per hour or so. Now, elsewhere across the area, it's mainly northern areas that are seeing any storms at all. Some of these are a little bit on the stronger side over the Chesapeake Bay. They're moving due east, so going to be impacting Accomack County and Northampton County in the short term, but they're moving at a pretty good clip and won't be hanging around for that long. Down to the south and south side, we've got one downpour over Hampton, pretty much moving east rather quickly as well. Another one over the James River, over James City, Jamestown, south of Williamsburg, and all of those, again, are moving on off towards the east. So myself, meteorologist Evan Stewart, will be here watching this and see how this evolves over the coming hours or so. But if anything changes, we'll pop back in. We are continuing to stream on 13 News Now Plus. All right, folks, welcome back. We just popped over on the TV side to do a brief little cut-in on that warning that now, honestly, all clear in Gloucester for this cell. That cell has now completely exited the warning polygon and has dramatically weakened. I think our focus now will shift to northern portions of Gloucester County and northern Matthews for this other cell here that is yet to see a warning on it. It's got a hail signature, looks almost identical to the cell that was to the south that was warned. So we're waiting on this one to get a warning as well out near Dutton, Free Shade Corner, eventually heading towards Hudgens. If they do slap a warning on it, it'll move pretty much due east at 30 to 35 miles per hour. Very similar to the cell that was just to the south of it that has now seen a rapid weakening take place. Hail here, that was what the other cell was warned for, hail up to 1 inch. I think that's on the high end of possibilities here. Radar is indicating very small hail. We are pretty far away from the radar site, but still, regardless of that, it's getting a sample pretty high up of some hailstones, and it doesn't look to be that big in those particular areas. North of Sign Pine, this is far northern Gloucester County. If anything holds together, it'll be moving off to the east at a pretty good clip. It's got some heavy rain, some lightning and thunder with it. 7 strikes in this overall window here over the last 30 minutes, so not a particularly charged thunderstorm, but it is taking advantage of some modest dynamics that are in place with an inbound cold front from the north and west, sparking this rather modest line here to the north, really affecting areas that are pretty much under that SPC day 1 threat. You see here, areas shaded in green. That's pretty much exactly what the radar is highlighting here. That's where we have any storms right now. Gloucester, Matthews, up along. They dropped the warning for the Gloucester one. That cell is now over the bay, so no longer a threat to land at this time. It will be impacting Northampton County, though, as we go through the next 30 minutes or so as it traverses the bay. And we'll see if it weakens, see if it holds together. Usually it's a little more stable over the bay there, so we'll see how things unfold. But this cell here to the north, northern Gloucester, over to Matthews, has probably the most intense signature we've seen so far. A few more clusters of downpours here. All that activity seems to be spread out a little bit more. Another cell developing over Melfa, getting into Accomack County, and that's going to be the focal point probably over the next hour for any other storms because these are all moving due east across the Chesapeake Bay. Areas to the south, we're just not seeing that much favorability in terms of dynamics right now. The front is still well to the north and west, so as that slides south, we could see this fill in a little bit. Models were very much toning it down for any storms flaring up that would be severe, but off to the north and west here, it did kind of northeast, did overperform just a little bit. Looks like a cell developing here just north of Roanoke Rapids that's moving to the south and east. But for now, Evan, pretty good gap here from Williamsburg to Emporia, but to the north and northeast of there, a little more active probably for the next hour or so. You can see there's actually a warning here in southern portions of Maryland, but again, not impacting our immediate area.
Yeah, Tim, and one thing to note is this is pretty much where the National Weather Service is drawing in the triple point. That's where our cold front, our warm front, and what we call an occluded front all come together, and it's right there just between Williamsburg and Richmond. As we take a look at the radar, you can see where that low is and where all of our fronts sort of come together. And a lot of times right there on the north side or the east side of a low, we can get that potential stronger thunderstorms developing, and that's what we've seen so far with that one warning. That was over Gloucester County. We still have that pretty impressive storm that is over southern Middlesex County, northern Gloucester County, around Panero up towards Free Shade Corner, over towards Dutton. No reports so far of any hail with these storms, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some little pea-sized hail with that storm that's approaching Hornet's Nest. Dutton, you're sort of in line with that, and then eventually over towards Blake's, Hudgens, over towards Gwynn Island and Grimstead and Moon there in northern Matthews County. So the county line right there is just towards the east of Dutton. And as we've been watching that, a little bit of a hail signature showing up, nothing too terribly large, pea size or small hail with that. And the main reason is just because we're getting a little bit farther from the radar site. That beam gets a little bit higher and higher because of the angle of the beam and the curvature of the Earth. And that is sort of getting us a little bit higher. And some of that hail might not quite be making it towards the ground or might be melting. You can see not a lot of lightning strikes with it. Some, 7 just within the past hour. The other storm is just clipping the southern tip there of Matthews County, is approaching Northampton County on the eastern shore. And now we're seeing that heavy rain that is moving into areas around Hampton. And we can take another look there and you can see, just like we were seeing up in Newport News, we can see that rainbow from some of the rain rainbows typically form closer to that sunset time. That's when you can get the right angles. And there we are seeing that sunset over Hampton from some of the rain that has been moving through there. And as we head back up a bit farther to the north, up across the peninsula, not seeing that rainbow anymore there at the LFCU, Thompson Creek Window Company Skyview there and Oyster Point. Other storm that we're watching, a little one near Lee Hall. That one's pretty weak as well. And when they're just moving off of Stingray Point and Ruark there, moving into the Chesapeake Bay. So that one is also moving eastward and could impact areas along the eastern shore as well. Some lightning. There's a brand new lightning strike there in Middlesex County showing up. Otherwise, nothing there is severe, Tim. So we are watching these storms continue to work their way off towards the east.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that the cell to the south there, warranted a warning to be issued. Meanwhile, this cell that, looks a little bit more intense, radio silent. So it's very interesting to see how that plays out here in northern Gloucester as we get over into Matthews here near Dutton, Panero, Free Shade Corner. See some definite signatures here. Very heavy rainfall, probably some hail in there too, probably small hail at that. Moving due east, approaching Hudgens here in the next 15 to 20 minutes or so. The cell to the south was moving at around 35, so I'd imagine that this cell's moving close to that as well. So moving into northern portions of Matthews County. That looks to be the focal point for any strong storms at the moment. We've got another cluster here just to the west of Accomack, over the Chesapeake Bay, over Tangier. Plenty of lightning and thunder here. You see the strike count. Again, in this entire window, up to 60 strikes. Very heavy rain, but you can see the energy here is spread out a little bit more. So all of this right now is non-severe, but it will be bringing some heavy rain right over US 13 there in Accomack County near Bloxham and Onancock in the short while. Down to the south, we've got a downpour that's pretty much right on top of Hampton. Moving over to Fox Hill now with some heavy rain. No lightning or thunder associated with this cell at this moment. And that's about to clear the southern portions of the peninsula there and move into the Chesapeake Bay as well. Aside from that, we're just still watching this cell here off to the north that's got the most pronounced signature of any of them, of having maybe some severe criteria hail and a possibility of just some gusty winds in this area too, near Free Shade Corner over to Dutton. You can see there would be the any area that we could potentially see some hail. And radar lagging a little bit shows it just off to the north and west, probably setting up just due west of Dutton right now. North of Gloucester, this is in northern Gloucester County. Here's the Matthews County line, heading towards that region here in a short while with some heavier rain there too. But aside from that, Evan, no other warnings out there right now. Once we hit 7 o'clock and we don't see any warning on this cell here, I think we'll go ahead and conclude this and see how things play out over the Chesapeake Bay. But for right now, this cell may be having some small hail with it, gusty winds, and some heavy rainfall as it moves east. Now pretty much centering itself over northern Matthews County, near Hardyville. That's just outside of Matthews County, but near Hardyville and getting closer towards the Chesapeake Bay here, where it will eventually impact Northampton and over into Accomack as well.
Yeah, I've been monitoring, as you have, Tim, the National Weather Service. Chad, not saying much about these storms that are moving up through parts of the Middle Peninsula and over towards the eastern shore. In the storms that are up across the Chesapeake Bay now, they are not severe. Likely we have some special marine warnings for those storms, I would imagine. And, there's a pretty big storm up there in southern Maryland, up around Chesapeake Ranch Estates, Lexington Park. And you can see that one has a little more of a signature for hail compared to the ones that are in our neck of the woods. So that's why, we're probably right at that threshold. I'm going to move it back southward. And, we're seeing a little bit of some pink trying to show up, but not as much as we were a little bit earlier. So I imagine, Tim, as you said, if we don't see a warning on this here in the next 3 minutes, we're probably good to go. We'll have to watch what happens as it gets into the Chesapeake Bay. Some of the signs have been that these storms haven't been, re-strengthening as they move into the bay and work their way eastward. So that's certainly some good news. You'll get a good downpour up along the eastern shore here as we come up over the next 45 minutes or an hour. Once we get back into the south side, a new little shower has popped up over Isle of Wight County. That one's not much to write home about. And then still watching that one that is back in Greensville County around Emporia. That one has been intensifying as we take a look here just over the last hour or so. That storm just south of Emporia, that one is firing up. So we'll watch it. We'll continue to monitor it here as we go over the next here about the next minute and a half in case we see any other warnings. Just a lot of lightning with those storms moving through the Chesapeake Bay, Tim.
Yeah, and we'll go ahead and just keep an eye on this cell here in northern Matthews County over into Gloucester, as well as it's moving due east at 35. It was showing us some signs of strengthening as it was back farther to the west, and now looks to be kind of weakening. And once it clears Matthews County and gets into the bay, as you mentioned, Evan, the pattern here, the trend has been any storms that enter the Chesapeake Bay have not been maintaining their strength, and in fact have been on a weakening trend as they move over that more stable air there. But right now over Dutton, over Hudgens, starting to see the rain breaking on out. Some lightning and thunder in there as well, and there could be the possibility of some very small hail. So we'll continue to watch this here in the 13 News Now Weather Center and let you know if anything changes on there. But we'll go ahead and wrap up the stream and monitor things as we head on through the rest of this evening. Enjoy your Thursday.